Nigeria, and welcome. It is Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the hub of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Igwebike, and today we kickstart with our newspapers, and possibly from there we crisscross to our main conversation for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find us or reach us when you visit us right here at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Charles Idowu, journalist, public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers and straight through our main conversation for today. Good morning, Charles, and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Glad to be here one more time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your time once more. So let's kickstart today, this interesting morning, with the Saturday Punch newspaper. Big story: Nigerians must go. How Ghana's business rules, landlords' actions trigger xenophobic fear. We have two riders to that particular story. Igbo community suspend Yam Festival. Traders allege restriction. President Mahama promises safety for Nigerians and their properties. Mr. Idowu, let's speak to this particular matter. It's slowly but surely intensifying across Ghana. Our brothers, the same Anglophone country that we share together. What do you think is happening here? Are they overstepping their grounds in this particular matter?
Well, you couldn't say that because that's their country. I mean, this is not the first time. This is about the third time, not in immediate row that we're having this problem. It started in 1969, so history tells me, during the Nigerian Civil War. At that time, they said over time that Nigerians were doing a lot of things that they did. So Nigerians were trying to find, Nigerians that were escaping the war, as history also tells me, that they were trying to find a safe haven in Ghana. Most of the people who were there, who have been there for ages, suddenly Ghana just had to say they should leave. So the Nigerian must leave, Nigerian must go, started in Ghana in 1969. Then there was the one that we all know that gave room to, or gave rise to the naming of the bag, very popular bag, Nigeria Must Go. It happened, I think, 1982 during the administration of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. At that time, well, the Ghanaians that were here, most of them were, undertaking menial jobs, and a lot of them we were also told went into crimes, petty crimes, and major crimes, armed robbery. So it became a thorn in our flesh. So we decided to ask them to go over there. So maybe this may be another reprisal for them over there. Again, Nigerians that are there, not all of them, some of them are actually not doing what is right, what is proper, painting the name of the country in bad light. So, but it's quite saddening. Nigeria and Ghana have shared common things. There's so many things in common, in culture, in entertainment, in football, and then even jocularly, there's been this silent war, as I said jocularly, about whose jollof tastes better. The Ghana jollof and jollof. So, but Nigeria and Ghana, they have a lot of things to do. I can't remember what year that we hosted together, co-hosted the African Cup of Nations AFCON, Nigeria and Ghana. Yeah. So we've shared so many things in common. So it will be so bad that it's happening. But I think on the government to government level, we have Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu that went to Ghana the other day, received by her counterpart over there. And then the President, I also understand, has said that they will do everything possible to ensure that it doesn't snowball into full-blown xenophobia.
Very true. Of course, this is growing very fast. But I'd love you to speak to the issue of Nana Akufo-Addo, the former president, and handed over to Mahama. During his time in office, for the last 8 years he's been in office, we've never seen this before. All of this reignited with the coming of Mahama. So is this becoming more political like we have it in Nigeria? Is Ghana becoming more into politics than it is about governance?
Well, I wouldn't say so. But if you trace what led to this current face-off, you will look at it that where this the things that were done, were they not supposed to have been handled appropriately, more appropriately? We understand that this current one stems from the fact that somebody of Nigerian of Igbo extraction, sought to establish a kingdom in a foreign land. Okay, and I understand that this man himself has been very close to the corridors of power over there in Ghana. He's even married to a Ghanaian, so we are told. And then we're also told, I'm just looking at what we are reading in the newspapers and all that he acquired a vast expanse of land, which of course was meant for agricultural development, but suddenly houses were springing up over there. When they asked questions, they said they wanted an Igbo settlement over there. And then before you knew it, you have an Igbo of Ghana. That's not the main thing. There were fundamental issues that have always remained, unsolved.
And what do you think it is? Yes, and what do you think it is? Because the chieftaincy title is not new. It's been there for a very long time. So also it is across Africa and across the world. We have chiefs from different tribes and ethnicities springing up in different parts of the world. So that is not the remote problem. What do you really think? As a journalist, what do you really think is the remote issue here?
Yeah, I said that was what we are seeing in public, but there are underlying issues that have remained unsolved, which was what I was going to tell you. They have, I don't know if you understand that there are some markets in Ghana that are named after Nigerian places.
Yes.
So to figure out how long Nigeria have existed over there. But the main issue that have remained unsolved is the fact that Nigerians over there are not allowing Ghanaians to have equal rights to markets. I'll give an example.
Yes.
I'll give an example. Now, a Ghanaian will build maybe a shopping complex, for instance, maybe a 20-shop shopping complex. Okay. Now, the Ghanaians, I think those, I can't recall which of the tribes that are like Igbos of Nigeria. Now, those people over there, they want to rent shops, but a Nigerian will come, or an association of Nigerian market traders will come and pay for all the 20 shops, have them locked until you find a Nigerian will come to say, okay, I want to rent. So they now be renting the whole thing to Nigerians, to the exclusion of the Ghanaians. And they've been looking at that as a way of stifling their growth in business. So, in quote, Nigeria have been driving them away from business opportunities and all that. So all these things have been there. All this issue of chieftaincy just came and they just latched on it. So there are underlying issues that we're supposed to. I mean, if you recall about 2-3 years, I can't remember how many years ago that they said there was this uproar in the market that they had to ask them to now start revalidating their registration. If you recall that story. Yeah, if you own a business in Ghana, you have to come to start revalidating your businesses. They were putting so much on the desk for you to pay this, pay that, which of course almost impossible. But Nigerians they also had the money and they were paying to the exclusion of the Ghana. So those things were there, and I think the government-to-government conversations that are ongoing, they should also look into that. Nigerians should also play by the rules. Don't go over there and then do things that to the exclusion of the Ghanaians who are your host.
Very, very true. And of course, lots of people have questioned why President Bola Tinubu has deliberately refused to allow for ambassadors in different countries around the world. What Bianca Ojukwu is doing, she is actually not supposed to be doing that. The ambassador representing Nigeria in Ghana should be doing all of that. Do you think that might had further exacerbated the problem that we had?
Well, a yes and no. The no is that I don't think even the presence of an ambassador, whether is an ambassador we have or high commission, I think they are members of Commonwealth are supposed to have high commission. Okay. Ghana is a member of that, so a high commission, not an ambassador, high commission, good. So I don't think if we had a high commissioner in Ghana, whether the difference would be there. We used to have Obanikoro over there. There was a time we had problem. Obanikoro was there, was able to quell those uprisings against Nigeria and Ghana. So even if you had any high commissioner in Ghana, he may do a bit to stem the tide. But now that you don't have, we have Bianca Ojukwu, who is serving as one of the officials of the Nigerian External Affairs Ministry. So I think what she's doing now, I think it may not be to a large extent, to an extent, to ensure that we procure what I might call a stopgap measure to ensure that these things are nipped in the bud. But the president himself used to be, I think it's only recently that he relinquished the position of ECOWAS chairman. So he and the Ghana president can meet president to president to iron these things out, so that the very robust relationship that existed between Ghana and Nigeria for centuries, we should not be allowed to just go downstairs.
Very true. And just to remind our viewers, the current president of Ghana, Mahama, practically grew up in Nigeria in Ifo. Of course, that's where he grew up during the turmoil happening in Ghana back in the day. So he is more like a Nigerian and truly does understand all of these things, and we would love to believe that his expertise, knowing both countries, would really go a long way to solving the problem that we have. But I'd love us to talk to the another matter we have here. Falcon's 150 million naira gift sparks outrage among retired soldiers caught battling poverty. Charles, you will agree with me that Nigerians, especially our military officers and veterans, they have sacrificed their lives more than enough for Nigerians, more than any other person. I stand to be corrected. But a situation where someone who just played around the field for 90 minutes was gifted 150 million naira, $100,000, while people who have sacrificed their lives, most of them have lost their limbs, still go home without anything. Do you think that is fair on the part of the government?
Well, it's not fair, openly. It's not openly fair. But again, what the Super Falcons went to do in Morocco is a type of war. Okay, so when you send people, yeah, it's a type of war. That's why I say it's a type of war. Okay, now when people go on war, on wars, for instance, a country will go on war to another country, and then victory becomes yours. The laurels, booties of war, and then you are rewarded. All right. So this, as I said, this is a type of war. So, but their reward may be extravagant, but they ought to have been rewarded because they brought glory to this country. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, whether the question is that is it not too much? People are saying they shouldn't have been rewarded, but I think they said the reward was too extravagant. Yes, of course, I also share their sentiment. Now, you must look at it that Tinubu is a politician. The government in power, they have a lot of people who are government officials are politicians. And politicians always look for everything that they will use to show up their image. Okay? And you saw that there was a time we said, Baba, go slow. During Buhari's time, Nigeria was always beating blue and black in tournaments that were attended. So they have said that Buhari brought bad luck to us. We didn't win that. But somebody is there now who is winning. I mean, in whose administration of Nigeria is winning laurels. So the president and his government is feasting. They are feasting so much on it. This glory that have been brought over. But I think it's extravagant. Maybe, for instance, the honor, national honor that they were given should have sufficed. And then they also were given houses in Abuja. Maybe $10,000 each should have been okay. But I think $100,000, $150 million naira equivalent is a bit too extravagant because nurses are on strike. Yes. That's the health sector. You have not even looked at that. The education sector, the ASU, they are still saying that all the agreements upon agreements that reach, whether you call it MOU or MOA, they have not also. Government has also not met its own part of the bargain. So I think for me, the 150,000 naira or $100,000 equivalent is a bit extravagant to be paid to them in the circumstance.
Very true. It's often been quoted that when you meet President Bola Tinubu, you don't come back empty. But of course, Nigerians are saying this is becoming too much, and he is prioritizing issues that shouldn't be prioritized. And well, it's come see, come sir. Lots of people might agree, lots of other people might not agree. But let's take a look at other matters. 800,000 fresh undergraduates to face NDLEA drug test from September. Charles, do you think this is necessary? Shouldn't we be focusing on how best we can make this, young people entering into our tertiary institutions better people educationally than testing them for drugs and all whatnot?
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay.
Because now you are there speaking good English, you are well composed because you are your mental health is stable. That's why you will be able to do that. Now, if you were on drugs, are you saying you will be able to do what you're doing? You can't dispense properly this responsibility you are dispensing right now. You can't. I sit down here. If I were on drugs, there's no way I'll be able to compose myself or comport myself to do that. So ND is national director of employment. Now, when you are out, what they do is that you have vocation. They train you on those vocations and not that. After they are certified, you go through a lot of things. Before, they will now give you a seed fund for you to start up. Now, when they give you that seed fund, you think they give a seed fund to somebody who is not mentally stable. What do you think? So I think for me, it's proper for them to be made to undergo this mental, whatever you call it, test for drugs, so that they will know how many of them that will be going for rehab, maybe not rehabilitation because that word is very strong, maybe for them to be told what not to do and all that, and so that they can be of sound mind to do whatever they want to do, because whatever they're going to be doing is going to help to also build the economy of this country. So we cannot have drug people running the economy of the micro sector of the economy in this country. So they are better. It is better for them to be of sound mind than be of people who are of drugs.
Very true. We cannot have people who are future of Nigeria run the micro and macro economy of Nigeria with drugs. But don't you think this should be extended to our politicians also? Quarterly, have them get tested for drugs, because the politicians of today metaphorically act like people who are on dopamine. They don't think like they're supposed to think. They don't talk the way they were supposed to talk. They don't even reason and connect to the people they serve. Don't you think our politicians should be given that opportunity also?
Did you hear me laughing? The reason why I'm laughing is that I imagine you maybe raising that kind of flying that kite.
Yes.
That maybe or Peter Obi should come for drug test.
Well,
or David Mark.
Yes.
David Mark to come for drug test, or even Tinubu to come for drug, or David Mahi, or Wike should come for drug test.
Or Okaba. Please, I'd love you to add Okaba to that list.
Oh, okay. Come on, my friend, leave my government. Leave my government alone. Okay, tell Okaba to come for, or tell Oshomole to come for drug test and all. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You see, the thing is, I have no problem with what I have problem with is that we don't insist on laws, being respected. Let me give an example. I'm not sure. I'm sure you are in the media. You must have heard that about 3 days ago or so, or earlier in the week, that the First Lady, Senator Mrs. Oreme Tinubu, donated about 1 billion.
1 billion,
naira for IDP, right?
In Benue, yes, in Benue State.
Good question. What for? What purpose? Did we ask that question? Is it the Tinubu family money, or is it what appropriation? From what appropriation did they get the money to donate? Is it the office of the vice president the office of the first lady that is not recognized by law? So how did she come about the 1 billion naira she donated? So these are the things we should be looking at. If we're able to insist on some of these laws, and then we question some of this improper behavior, improper conduct of this official, we'll get better. The $100,000 that Tinubu donated, each of them, to this package that we just mentioned earlier, was it appropriated for in 2025 appropriation act? Those are the things you'll be looking at. So when you think they should be going through drug tests and all that, you could go over there, but when you get in there, the law will soon catch up with you when you are misbehaving at the house, or whether it's the red chamber or the blue chamber, or even the camera registration we are running in the sub-nationals. Then the laws will catch up. They look at you. Those people you are representing, maybe say Usikwato North or Usikwato South, or even one is on West in Edo State. they will recall you because you're not resident properly.
Yeah.
So that's another way I think that it's not going to happen that you ask Wike to come present himself before a drug testing committee or commission or whatever.
But you know, yes, but you know too well we need sound people of sound mind to govern the country. We can't have people without sound mind governing a country, because if we compare ourselves to other nations around the world where things work, it is because they have sound-minded people. So I think it's important that we, one way or another, find a way to make this happen, because we can't have mediocres running the country and expect something good out of it. Don't you think so?
I agree with you. Before we move on, I'm sure Enterprise TV must have done a lot of checks on you before they hired you.
Very well.
That's a given, and some other folks who are there. Now, what we should be looking at is the procedure, the procedural, whatever nomenclature, the procedure or the process of recruiting our public officers, our officials. When they come to you, okay, they are asking for your vote. What questions do you ask? But they will bring banknotes, wave banknotes in your nose and all that, and then you accept. They give you 5,000, you take it. They give you 10,000, you take it. So, but have people really sat down to question their background, whether they are fit mentally, whether they are fit intellectually? So, it's the process of recruitment that we should be looking at before. Then it's at that point you also talk about whether they are mentally sound or not.
Yeah,
not after they have been elected. It will be very difficult for you to do that when they have been elected to offices.
Yes, very, very true. So apt, because it's very important that we state some of these things. Even amongst us as the fourth realm of the estate, when we have personalities like Femi Adesina stating on national television that President Muhammad Buhari would have been dead a long time ago if he had used Nigerian hospitals. And one would ask, why would he say such a thing? Rather than encourage the president to build a symbolic healthcare facility in Nigeria where they would use, he is okay, very so okay, having our president travel very long miles away from here to take advantage of hospitals built by politicians like them in Nigeria, in different parts of the world. Very sad, but that is the reality we have. Yeah, you have something to say about that just before we move on to our main conversation?
Briefly. Please, this is an aside. I wish I could say it off record. I've always had problem with appointing people from the print media, or the print media, if you will, newspaper, particularly newspaper opinionists, maybe those who write opinion and all that. I've always had problem in appointing them as spokesperson, because these people are opinion, they write opinion and they speak the way it is from their mind. It's different from those who are trained as public relations person and all that. As a public relations person, somebody who is good in communication, you know that's self-indictment.
Very well.
You understand? Whether it's Abati, when Abati was there, all of them, they will speak the way it is in their mind, as if they are writing an opinion. So they don't gauge whatever they are saying. Exactly what happened to Femi Adesina. You could now, this is a government you were SSA to whatever. Now, if Femi Adesina were to be a PRO person, you would say the way he said it.
Very well, Charles.
That's yes. So you mean that all others, the rest of the Nigerians can go to those hospitals and die. But President, if he had done it, would have died. I mean, it's a very responsible statement from him, as I said.
Very so callous. And I don't think we should, as members of the fourth realm of the state, we should really, act or take that writing home, because that is not really good enough for the industry and for the sector. So we'll be going on our main conversation. Charles will be here to take us on that when we return. South stakeholders condemn Fubara's suspension, demand immediate action. It's still Enterprise Weekend. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. joining us, and if you are still here, this is still Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for this morning. South leaders, legal experts, and activists have urged President Bola Tinubu to immediately reinstate Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and lawmakers rather than wait for the September 18 end of the controversial state of emergency declared in March of 2025. They argued that the emergency rule declared over alleged insecurity is unconstitutional and unnecessary, especially after a public reconciliation between Fubara and his political rival, Nyesom Wike. Elder Joseph and Professor Benjamin Okaba called the suspension of governance in Rivers a breach of democracy and insisted peace has since returned to the state, making the continued emergency declaration unjustifiable. Other voices, including former Ijaw Youth Council President Eric Omare and right advocate Alaowe, a cleric, criticized the presidency for trampling on constitutional rights, warning that allowing the suspension to linger undermines Nigeria's democracy. They also faulted the National Assembly and Supreme Court for their inaction. Activist Blessing Adima emphasized that Fubara'S removal is illegal and urged Tinubu to act quickly to restore public trust. I still have with me Charles Idaho. Thank you so very much, Charles, for being here.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So let's get talking. I'd love you to maybe have your own take on this particular matter. As a journalist, you should have a better insight into what is happening currently. Help us, please, fleshing this out.
Well, for me, I think this call by this group, I don't know where they have been ever since. This thing didn't happen yesterday. I think about 4 months are gone. We're looking towards the 5th month. September, it will be 6 months. So where have they been when people have been raising their voices against where people have been condemning the suspension? Where have they been? Why suddenly they just appear from nowhere, and then they think that they can just at this point add their voices to it? I mean, for me, it's too late. It's uncalled for. I think they should use their time to do better things, because it's stampeding the government to say the issue hurriedly recall Fubara'S government. For me, is uncalled for, because there was a process that was put in place. By when he was before he was suspended, and then when the president made that broadcast, they said 6 months at the first instance. All right. So a lot of people have gone to court. People have actually raised concerns over it, and then raised objections, condemned it, and all that. But we've done 4 months already. Even Fubara himself said, okay, he is ready. There was time before he said he was even thinking of even returning to that position. Until recently, I think he had a turnaround, and then he's waiting for the whistle to blow, to be blown for him to return to that position. So for me, I don't know where this, whether Omale, whatever name they are called, it's too late in the day for them to now be advocating for what I think is it has become stale. If they had raised this objection maybe a month after the suspension, I think it would have made more meaning. But for me, I don't think it's something we need to look at. For me, when somebody sent me this story from your studios, that's what we're going to be looking at. I just brushed that with a wave of the hand. It's a no-brainer, as they say in the US. It's a no-brainer at all.
Very true. Charles, there's this legal maxim. It's a doctrine, actually. We call it the doctrine of volenti non fit injuria. And it is, if you consent to a risk, you can sue for harm. Is it okay to say that Fubara, he actually consented to the risk that he has, and therefore has no reason to sue for anything? Because, of course, there's been a ton of events. Fubara, that we all used to know, the darling of everyone, who was going against Nyesom Wike, unfortunately, to Nigerians, is becoming like a lapdog right now to Nyesom Wike. Is this a source of concern for Nigerians and for people in River State?
If you were appointed by Providence to be Wike's special advisor on political matters, would you be telling him to take to the streets? I don't think so. that would not be a wise advice, because I think there's a saying, there's an idiom that he who lives to fight, or how do you say, he who lives to fight another day.
Yeah, he who lives to fight for another day.
Good. So that's exactly. And then there's also thing that if you have a bull in a China shop, China ware, what we call broken plates or broken wares in Nigeria. If you have a bull like a mad cow, you're running into where you stock this broken plate, and they call it Nigeria China wares in a shop, and you spend billions of naira to stock it, and I mean rich people are coming there to buy and all that. Suddenly a mad cow runs into that shop, and you know how much you have. How do you ease that mad cow out of your shop? Will you start fighting the mad cow, knowing that you lose your wares and lose billions of naira? You'll find a way to get that mad cow out of your shop. Then when you get outside, you can start fighting or start doing whatever you want. So right now, Wike and all other people, they are like bull in a China shop, and it will be better for Fubara to find a way to wisely ease them out of that China shop, so they will not lose his wares and his investment. So for me, I like the calm mien. I like the humble mien of the governor by now. I mean, as was today. The September is upon us. September 18th is very close by. So let him come back. When he comes back, nobody knows what he has up his sleeves. Whether he's going to focus, he's a governor, and then let him again begin to speak daggers, even if you don't use any. So for me, I think what he's doing now, if I were to advise him, I think he's doing well. He's doing well for now.
Yes, he's doing well. The person of Siminalayi Fubara is so very unpredictable. You look at his face and you're asking yourself, what is this man up to in the next minute? Lots of people would say all of this mannerism you've seen him display, that all Trojan horse, that it's possible that once he gets there, it is a new improved, new rebranded Fubara that might possibly do some calculated damage on the APC. Do you see that coming?
Yeah, you see, let me give you an example. What about Fubara is planning to do now? We don't know. We can only conjecture, right? Now, we have an antecedent or a precedent, if you will, in Oyo State. Now, the Ladoja was the governor. Then the late Okaba was his vice or deputy. Then something happened. Ladoja was removed and all that. But see how Akala was. He took it. At the end of the day, did Akala not come back to his Ladoja out of that place? If you could look at. I mean, you have so many examples of how people were eased off to that place, and then they become the masters of the game. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I think, okay, why by Joe? What about Obaseki? Obaseki, look at the way he destroyed the what's his name? Oshomole. Yeah. How about Oshomole that also was able to drown the political fortunes of the late Aneni, Tony Aneni, Mr. Fix-It. Mr. Fix-It was the be all and end all of the Edo politics. Wow. Anybody who became governor, Tony Aneni was the one who was giving them a script to act upon. But when Oshomole got there, Oshomole played by the rules. He was able to put things in place, put a structure. By the time he was able to put a structure in place, he told Anthony Aneni to go to hell. And he threw him through the window. The man was speaking. And he became his own boss. So there's a lot of things that we have to wait for. We don't know what is up the sleeves of Fubara for now. For him, he's calm just to accept what they bring to him. When he gets in there, he becomes the chief executive and the chief security officer. So you remember that when I can't remember who was it Obaseki who declared the Oshomole person of grant. I said even his plane could not even land in Benin.
Yes, very well.
And that is stood. So we never can tell what Fubara may do when he comes back. So we can only conjecture. But I hope that whatever he's coming to do will be for the best of all Riverians that they are called.
Yeah, it's very true. When President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, people likened him to what Sani Abacha did when he overthrew the government. And lots of people might not be happy as at the time President Bola Tinubu declared state of emergency for reasons which are really not as par to what we see in the northeast of Nigeria. But do you think that decision is working right now, because there is a relative peace in Rivers State. Everyone that has been at dagger head, right now they are in union with one another. So as much as we must have disagreed with what President Bola Tinubu had done, do you think that decision was well worth it?
Well, you could say yes, but there's also a no. Now, the relative peace we enjoy in Rivers State today may also not be far from the fact that people just want them to accept. Let this man just come back. Let us not further exacerbate the problem. If you cause more mayhem, Rivers State will suffer for it. So let's just not compound the problem for Fubara, so that the enemies they think is their collective enemy would not, or their common enemy would not have the upper hand. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for somebody to say, well, Wike, he left the government, he has left the government, has not left Rivers State alone. Let's just allow them for now. By the time Fubara comes back, they will see what to do. So the relative peace you may find in Rivers State, may just be like a great what they call a cemetery peace. Okay? So let Fubara comes back, let Fubara come back, and when he comes back, then before we begin to look at what is up next in that state.
Very, very true. The doctrine of in pari delicto. When two people or two parties are at fault, the court cannot help any of them. Lots of people have said both Nyesom Wike and Siminalayi Fubara are both at fault, because if we take a look at the primaries that happened, Siminalayi Fubara would not have been picked ordinarily, and even on the day of the election, Rivers State